How's it going, wrestling collectors? Today we're counting down the top 5 prices paid for memorabilia from the Ultimate Warrior. What's gonna come in first on this list? Will it be a sports card? Will it be an action figure? Will it be something signed, or maybe a signed sports card or a signed action figure? Stay tuned and let's find out together.
CollectAWrestlePalooza. CollectAWrestlePalooza.
But before we start the countdown, let's go over the criteria. If you've watched my channel before, thank you for coming back. If you're new, welcome. We do top 5 prices paid for wrestling memorabilia, and the way we do that is we only look at eBay auctions. And the reason is because I think that auctions are a true indication of the sports card market. I also like eBay because that's the biggest auction house there is, and if you're gonna choose a proxy for what things are selling for, eBay auctions seems like a pretty good place to look. And also there's price transparency in auctions. You can see what people actually paid. You can filter out bad auctions with shill bidding, that type of thing, so you can really see what things are selling for. I also generally don't include any autographed or signed memorabilia in my top 5s, but in this case I am, because there wasn't that much that was signed, surprisingly, and also the Ultimate Warrior's signature is really sought after, so I definitely wanted to keep those on this list. And finally, these are going to be sales that are recently ended listings. Reason being, that's all you can really filter for on eBay. I just looked at the top 5 prices today. Coming in at number 5 is a 1992 WWF Magazine signed by the Ultimate Warrior. Let's look at it. It says the only up-to-date source of hot info on all the WWF superstars. It doesn't look like WWF magazines per se. It says WWF Presents Superstar 7. I'm going to guess that this is a newsstand only copy. It also says inside the new 92 fall winter merchandise catalog, insider facts and stats from the publishers of WWF magazine. So this looks more like a collectible, glossy type newsstand only magazine. And I love that it's signed by the Ultimate Warrior. Look at him. He's up on the turnbuckles, he's thrashing his head, he's headbanging, he's rock and roll. If you were alive in the late 80s, early 90s, you know that this was actually very, very cool. The fluorescence, the Warrior insignia, the tassels. If you were a little boy at this time, oh man, Ultimate Warrior was the man. He still is the man, what am I saying? But back then, he was bigger than life, and nothing epitomizes bringing the Warrior back to life than seeing his signature. I can just imagine him standing there snarling, signing this magazine, which is why it sold at auction for $850. Coming in at number 4 is a 2004 Jakks Pacific 1-of-1 action figure from the classic Superstars series. This one sold at auction for $1,075. This actually seems like a low price for a 1-of-1 action figure. Why wouldn't it have sold for more? I'm guessing because the eye appeal. The Warrior's singlet doesn't look as cool as, some of the other stuff that he wore. Maybe this was later in his career when he was less muscular and covering up his body more. Also, look at his face and his hair. It's not all big in 1980s. The tassels are bigger than his legs. I don't know. The championship belt is that pastel purple, and it's got this odd USA flag behind him, which was more of a Hulk Hogan thing. That you're either Team Hogan or Team Warrior. You can't be both. You got to be just one of them. And I was always Team Warrior. So to me, this screams more Hulk Hogan, orange and red, than it does Ultimate Warrior, fluorescent purple, fluorescent orange, that type of color palette. So I'm guessing that's why it only sold for $1,075. I say only $1,075. That's still a pretty penny for an action figure, but this is a 1-of-1, so I would have expected it to sell for more. Coming in at number 4, 2004 Jakks Pacific 1-of-1, $1,075. Number 3 is another autograph. This does look like a sticker auto. I don't think this is hard signed, but what a cool photograph of the Ultimate Warrior. This is a 2007 Donruss Americana Ultimate Warrior private signings, numbered out of 250 in an SGC 10 10, meaning 10 for the autograph and 10 for the card. It sold at auction for $1,300. Look at the insignia for the Donruss Americana. Is it just me, or does that look like the American Gladiators insignia? And then look at Ultimate Warrior in cursive in the bottom left. The private signings. Looks like this is exclusive event for the Ultimate Warrior. But look at that signature. He actually made it legible. I haven't studied Ultimate Warrior autographs, but it seems to me that a lot of his signatures are scrawled, and this one is very legible, which is kind of nice. And the fact that it was graded a 10/10, for all those reasons, it sold for $1,300. Number 2 is another 2004 Jakks Pacific wrestling action figure. This one's only numbered 1 out of 20, but it sold for more, $1,375. And I know a lot of folks that love these figures. The Ultimate Warrior, I think there's one that he's clear, almost like a ghost, and then there's ones that he's, white colored instead of any sort of skin tone. There's ones that he just has some various fluorescent colors on his body. This one is the white and gold version, and it sold at auction for $1,375. But this is more classic Warrior, and I love that the Warrior logo is emblazoned on his chest and on his face. He's got his arms and his fists raised. It looks like he's getting ready to do his Warrior dance around the ring. He's gonna get ready to do the Warrior Splash, the Gorilla Press Slam. Don't get me started. Ultimate Warrior number 2, 2004 Jakks Pacific, numbered 1 out of 20, sold at auction for $1,375. And number 1 is the OG, the one that started it all. This is a rookie action figure from early in the Ultimate Warrior's career. Before he was the Ultimate Warrior, he was the Dingo Warrior in the AWA, and before that, he teamed with Sting as one of the Blade Runners. But this is his first action figure as the Ultimate Warrior. It only came out in Canada. It was the Wrestling Superstars Black Card Series. This is not an LJN. This is Grand Toys. If you look at the logo on the bottom left of the figure, even though it looks like LJN, it is not. It is a different action figure company called Grand Toys. Came out in 1989, but had the same size and style as the hard rubber 8-inch LJNs, but this one was black card only, Canadian only, and it says Wrestling Superstars 89. It's almost unheard of to find an Ultimate Warrior that's mint on card. Now you can call this one MOC, but you can see that the bubble is coming off, but even still, that means it's a minty fresh action figure. It does have the card back, and it was sold for $2,275, which to me is actually a steal for one of the hard rubber Grail action figures. Coming in at number 1 is the OG 1989 Grand Toys Ultimate Warrior, which sold for $2,275. And that does it for this week. Pretty good mix. We've got 3 action figures, 1 card, and 1 magazine. I think there's only 1 card because you can't actually find too many Ultimate Warrior signed wrestling cards. By the time they started releasing signed cards, he had already had his untimely passing. Fortunately, he did make it into the WWE Hall of Fame before he did pass away at an early age, as many of the superstars sadly have followed in the same footsteps. So any Ultimate Warrior autograph is going to command a premium, and there aren't that many cards that are signed by him, which is why there's only 1 on this list. And it was nice to see that signed magazine on there too. So leave a comment. What's your favorite? If you are interested in CollectAWrestlePalooza, I did start a Patreon for $5 a month. You can get 10% off all of your eBay purchases. If you are thinking about buying something from the eBay shop, it may be worth it to become a Patreon member. You might save more by getting that 10% discount than if you didn't. Links for all that stuff are in the notes to this video. Either way, thank you for your support. Be sure to like and subscribe. Have a great week. Be good to each other. Happy collecting.
CollectAWrestlePalooza. CollectAWrestlePalooza.